Hi, everybody. We're doing a little update with my friend Mark Hyman. For all of you who are joining me, God, my hair looks like dog do. Sorry, I'm not supposed to say that. For all of you who are joining me in this 21-day reset with Mark Hyman, I thought it might be helpful to get Mark on the phone, and he can answer some of our questions and maybe give us some ideas on things that we can do as we're on this reset. I don't know about you, so I've been doing it since a week ago Sunday, and I feel better. I miss my cookies. Oh, thank you. Hi, Mark.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you doing? I'm so happy to see you, and we've got a lot of people who are really we're doing this as a community effort. Hi, everyone.
Hey,
You
everybody.
try that. Susie says she can't do the reset, and a lot of people are saying nice things because I did Jeopardy last night, Mark.
I heard. That's exciting.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun, and the whole team there took such good care of me and made sure that I didn't look really bad. So I wanted to
Well, you
say
don't.
thank
Well, you don't have to know the answers. You just have to ask the questions. That's the easy part.
you for a mouthful, Mark Hyman, and so there you have to pronounce things properly. There are a lot of obscure references, so they're words that you've never even heard of before. So it was
Well,
quite nerve-wracking, really
well,
fun.
you must have done well because everybody's commenting how great you were. So,
And the people watching are me, and I feel my virtual family, so that's why a lot back on social media. Not a lot, but there are a lot of haters and trolls out there, Mark. It's actually very depressing. My daughter said about it, and one thing I don't think people think about when people write hateful things on people's platforms, it really is hurtful. I've gotten used to it all these years
Mm,
later, but for my daughters, it's really hard for
yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about the reset. Um,
Yes.
okay, first of all, thank you for helping all of us. We really appreciate it. It's kind of dark where you are. You
Oh, let me see if I can get a light. It's a rainy day in Hawaii, which is very rare.
oh, I'm cutting out. Not everyone. Okay. Um, okay. So, just getting a light on. You guys, any questions you might have for Mark Hyman about some of the things what we're doing, eating. If you guys want about it, go to my website at katiecouric.com. What we're talking about here today is Mark is an incredibly experienced and well-versed doctor, and he has worked for many years to help people make good decisions about what they're eating. And he's actually helped a lot of people who have physical, have various disease, and how they're saying I'm cutting out. I don't know why I'm cutting
It
out.
is. It is cutting out. I don't know why.
It is. I
Yeah.
found it up. Okay, hold on, everybody. Sorry. Let's see. On 2 seconds. I don't want that to be the case. Uh, done. Is that better, Mark?
Yeah, I think that's better.
Okay,
Yeah,
good. All right. Sorry, everybody. Is that better?
I think so. You
Okay.
keep talking. We'll see.
Anyway. Okay. Okay. So, anyway, I've been doing the reset. What I was saying is you've done a lot of work in this area and you really know
Hmm.
your stuff. And people are looking for more recipes. We've got a lot of questions from social media. Um, and tell me how people are doing sort of after their first week. I feel really good, but I do need some more ideas because I'm sick of eggs for breakfast, Mark.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And, I have eczema on my eyelids, believe it or
Mm.
not. I had it as a kid. And for some reason in the last year or two, it's gotten worse. Do eggs sometimes aggravate eczema?
Eggs can. Dairy and gluten and eggs are the top three culprits if people are reactive to those. So is your eczema better or is it the same?
It's better. I've got some topical stuff. But I just worry that a lot of eggs, and I just wonder because I get it under my eyes and on my eyelids. So I just curious.
Yeah, you don't have to eat eggs for breakfast. You can make different smoothies in the morning. You can throw in, for example, a mixture of different things. I throw in nuts and seeds, so I'll throw in like some chia seeds. I'll throw in like actually pumpkin seeds, maybe some nuts, almonds, and if you get a Vitamix, it'll all blend up. Or you can put nut butters in there, and you can throw some frozen berries. You can throw an avocado in there. You want fat and protein for breakfast, so you can put greens in there. So every morning I kind of make a good smoothie. I throw in veggies and fruit and nuts and seeds and good fats, and it's really yummy. So that's sort of an alternative. There's actually in the Pegan diet, by the way, actually a recipe for buckwheat pancakes, because buckwheat is not even a grain, and it's made with almond flour, buckwheat, eggs. It's super high in protein and good fats. So there's alternatives you can kind of hack and do. Sometimes I like just put have on gluten-free and like sort of seed crackers. I might have nut butters and things like that. So there's a lot of options, and there's some other ideas in the Pegan diet book too.
Okay. And what was I going to ask you? I was going to ask you something. Dairy-free. Oh yeah, dairy-free yogurt. Are there yogurts? My friend Nora O'Donnell asked about yogurt, and first of all, I think Nora takes very good care of herself. So,
yeah.
But can you eat?
Yeah, I mean, there's some really good forms of coconut yogurt. As long as you get the unsweetened kind, you can throw a bunch of nuts in there, and that's great. And that's got a lot of protein, fiber, and good fat. So I would say that's another alternative breakfast. So I have that sometimes.
And what about that chia seed pudding that you and
That is great. Oh my God. Yeah.
Will you tell everybody how to make that, Mark?
I mean, I gave exact amounts and recipes, but it's essentially like chia seeds, which absorb a ton of fluid and water. So if you put chia seeds, and an easy way to make it, just put chia seeds. You can put frozen raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, whatever you want in there. Throw in a bunch of let's say macadamia nut milk or almond milk that's unsweetened, and then you can throw in a little, maybe a pinch of salt and some cinnamon or spices, and then just put it in the fridge. And the chia seeds swell up, so it becomes this sort of a thick oatmeal-y like thing, and it's great. And also I used to do this thing called the Quick Trick Snack Stack. I think it's on Huffington Post, a recipe, but I'm trying to if I can remember. But it's things like using chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, walnuts or almonds, some dried coconut flakes, maybe some currants, and you sort of mix it all up, and you can pour some macadamia nut milk over it. So it's like cereal without the starch and sugar.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. I'm going to try that, Mark. Someone's asking if flaxseed is good.
Flax seeds are good. You have to grind them. They'll make you go to the bathroom. And if you don't drink enough water, that's the problem. You won't go because it sort of binds everything up.
So just make sure you drink a lot of water. We've gotten a lot of questions from social media. And let me ask about those here. The first one is a really lovely one, Mark.
Wait, somebody said they're not giving recipe ideas. Well, I've written like 5 cookbooks. So I think there's and also my website, drhyman.com, there's so many different recipes that go along with this. So there's plenty of recipes out there.
We have them on my website, katiecouric.com. Mark, where is the best place for people to find your recipes?
They can go get the free ones at drhyman.com, and there's tons on there that are compliant with the reset. And then I've got my 10-day detox diet book, Food, What the Heck Should I Cook, which is sort of one of my favorite cookbooks. And all that stuff is great in there.
I have a question. Can you eat bacon?
I can eat it. Yeah, I just put it in my mouth and chew it. And no, just kidding. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say bacon's a health food, but it's actually okay in small amounts. If you look at the data on colon cancer, eating smoked meats definitely does increase the risk, but it's about increasing the risk overall from 5% of the population to 6%. So it's a 30% increased risk, but it's an absolute risk, or maybe an 20% increased risk, but it's an absolute risk of only 1%. So, and that's if you ate 2 pieces of bacon every day your whole life, which people don't do. So I think it's really okay to occasionally have treats like that. It's okay.
Okay, good. I love bacon. It's my favorite thing. And soy bacon and turkey bacon. Someone asked, is that? I
mean, turkey bacon's fine. Soy bacon, I would be careful of because most of the soy processed meats are made from these industrial byproducts of soybean oil extraction. So it's basically isolated soy protein, and that's been shown to cause cancer in animals. So I tend to stay away from that processed soy weird stuff.
Oh, all right. I'm so bloated and pooping a lot from the reset diet. Thank you for sharing. I'm kidding. This is the same. You guys can talk about your bodily functions. You can talk about for us. Asking, can I have potatoes and grains in moderation?
Yeah.
And first of all, this is unusual, isn't it, for someone to be moving their bowels that much on this?
Well, no, not really. I mean, if you're eating whole foods and you're eating fiber-rich foods and you're getting rid of constipating foods like starch and dairy and so forth, people often start to go a lot more. And people may have not been going every day for their whole life, and all of a sudden they start going every day or 2 or 3 times a day. It's actually pretty normal to go 2 or 3 times a day. Actually, most people in America don't because they eat such a low fiber diet. I mean, Dennis Burkitt went to Africa and studied the populations that were still hunter-gatherers and compared them to the urban dwellers who were still Africans. And they found that the Africans in the city had all the same diseases Westerners, whereas the hunter-gatherers didn't. The difference he noted was the Africans who were hunter-gatherers had a stool weight of 2 pounds, whereas the city dwellers was 4 ounces.
Wow.
So basically it was the fiber. Just eat a lot of fiber. And that's what happens when you start to do this. So it's eating, lots of whole foods, vegetables, fruits, nuts, and seeds. You're going to be getting tons of fiber. And of course, you're getting good fat, which helps you go as well.
Okay. So the person wanted to know if he or she can have potatoes and grains in moderation on this reset. I know that you can have half a cup of fingerling potatoes or sweet potatoes. And by the way, Mark, half a cup is not very much.
I know. That was called the serving.
Yeah.
The key here is, I actually, just saw a paper published last week that showed that 63% of COVID hospitalizations could have been prevented if we'd improved our metabolic health. And that, not only that, there was another published paper that showed that as your blood sugar is starting to go up, not even pre-diabetic or diabetic, but just starting to go up, at any point along that curve or that line, that linear line, your risk of COVID hospitalizations and death goes up. So you really want to keep your blood sugar at an optimal level. And starch and sugar and potatoes, all that stuff, grains, will spike your blood sugar. Now, I've been wearing one of those continuous glucose monitors, and it's just fascinating to watch because I'm experimenting, and like last night, I ate a really good dinner, and I had, some scallops, and I had some stir-fried greens and some mushrooms, and I had a salad and Okinawan sweet potatoes with some ghee. So it was really good. Protein and fat, lots of fiber. My blood sugar was like 105 after the meal. It was great. Then I decided to have vegan macadamia nut ice cream because in Hawaii, they don't get vegan. Yeah. And it got a lot of sugar in it. And just because it's dairy free and it's vegan doesn't mean it's healthy. And so my sugar spiked to 140. And that's, for me, like, I'm not a diabetic or anything. So, and it's wearing this monitor is just fascinating to see how these foods affect our blood sugar and also when we eat them. So I think for the time being of like the reset, it's just like give your body a break. You can eat this the rest of your life, but see what it feels like to put your body back to its original factory settings. What happens? Do you lose weight? Do you have more energy? Do you sleep better? Is your digestion better? Does your eczema go away? Do your joints don't hurt? You have more mental clarity? Your headaches stop? Like, what happens? Because most people don't connect the dots between what they're eating and how they feel. And the whole point of this is to understand that food is not just calories, it's information, it's medicine. It's literally regulating every single system of your body in real time, and particularly your immune system. And that's what's so important now for the reset is you really want to get your immune system strong. And if you're on that trajectory of high blood sugar and obesity, your risk of getting sick and dying is high, but also your risk of transmitting it is higher. Your risk of not responding to the vaccines is higher because the immune system is suppressed if you're overweight. So even if you get the vaccine, it may not work as well. So there's a lot of issues around why we need to switch quickly. And the thing is, you could be 100 pounds overweight, but if you change your diet in 3 weeks, your metabolic parameters change. You don't have to lose all the weight for that to happen because it's the information, the food that quickly changes everything.
And I think, stay on this. So I start every day on a diet, end every day off my diet. And I think one of the things that I've learned is if you just do change and give yourself time to see the results do come. It's just that we're always sabotaging ourselves in one way or another, saying we'll start tomorrow. So we go crazy. I mean, that's my own kind of mental issue, but yeah, I feel better. I feel I have some joint pain. I feel like I don't have as much joint pain.
Yeah, yeah.
And really been great. Listen, Amanda Haas, who's really been helping me, Mark, uh, somebody great to follow on Instagram, everybody. It's HAAS, and she's doing recipes and helping.
Is she
And
named after the avocado family?
no, no, no,
The
I don't know.
Haas avocados.
A lot of people are asking this. Could you clarify if you're recommending iodized table salt like Morton's or kosher sea salt when cooking? Most cooks steer clear of table sauce because of its bad health properties. What do you
Yeah,
say?
I mean, I typically get this salt from Utah. This I think it's called red salt, red something
Oh,
salt, red table salt. But it's really good, and it's got all the minerals in it. It doesn't have iodine in it. If you're not getting iodine from your salt, it's probably a good idea to eat fish. And if you're not eating fish, you probably should be taking some type of iodine in your supplement, in your multivitamin, because most of the reason we put iodine in salt was to prevent goiters and thyroid issues because we had low iodine in our diet. But now you can get it through different sources. So I'm a big fan of sort of more, either sea salt or things that are sort of more Himalayan salt's great. And I can't remember the name right now of that salt, but I buy a big bag of it on Thrive Market. It's delicious.
oh, I love Malden. I love Malden salt.
Mm.
It's so delicious. Bobby Flay brought
Oh,
me a
real salt. It's called real salt is what it's called from Utah.
bottle.
Somebody posed it.
Out there, everybody. But you're saying don't use Morton iodized salt if possible.
Yeah. Well, I don't know anything against Morton's, but I just
Wait,
don't. I think it's better not to eat, refined salt and iodized salt, and if you can avoid it, and get the one with, more, because there's like a lot of minerals. The Redmond's real salt is the one I was talking about.
okay.
Oh yeah, seaweed too. Someone mentioned seaweed. I forgot that. Yeah, seaweed is a great source of iodine.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. Somebody asked about good mid-afternoon snacking options. And I wonder if you have some ideas for people on that. Some of those nutcrackers would be good, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because crunch.
Yeah, that's good. You can have nuts or nut crackers, seed crackers, there's almond flour crackers. All those are still processed. I typically say if you're hungry and you're snacking, maybe you didn't eat right at the meal you just ate last, right? Because if you have enough protein and fat, you really can stay full a long time. Those are the things that make you stay full. Like so on Sunday, my daughter and I came to Hawaii. We hiked the Haleakala Crater, which was like a 12-mile hike, and we had a big protein shake in the morning. And I put MCT oil, and I put extra almond butter, and I put protein in there and some berries. I mean, we lasted almost the entire 12 miles without being hungry just from this shake. So I think if you're eating starch and sugar, your blood sugar is going to go like this, and when it's going up and down, you're going to want more food and be hungry. And if you don't get enough fat in your diet, you're going to be hungry. So snacking is an American invention. I'm not a big fan of it. If you're hungry, grab a handful of nuts, or you can have some hummus or something if you want, on a cracker, or on a like a piece of cucumber or something. I think I'm not a huge fan of snacking.
Okay. That's a good idea. The other thing are like, I think celery with almond butter is
Yeah,
a
yeah,
snack if you need it. But I think you're right. I think you can't scrimp on the meals you're eating. So if you're going to eat a salad, eat a big salad. You can have half of an avocado in that salad, right?
yeah, or
And,
more. I mean, there's no limit on fat, or there's no limit on calories, and there's no limit on starchy vegetables. So
okay.
that,
All right. By the way, I'm talking to Mark Hyman, everybody, who's helping us with this 21-day reset about kind of figuring out how food with our bodies. Someone, I think this was Amanda too. In the reset book, you say yes to chickpeas and black beans, but you said no to me last week, and a lot of people are DMing Amanda.
yeah.
Will you help
Well,
us on the beans and what beans?
yeah. So generally, there's different kinds of resets, right? There's the ones I use for really sick patients, like with autoimmune disease, where we cut out a lot of stuff and we just give them whole real food of vegetables and protein, and very simple. And then we cut out all grains, all beans, all dairy, all sugar, obviously all processed food, and some even people cut out nuts and eggs and nightshades. That's the most extreme. Then the next would be to sort of more like what I call the 10-day detox or 10-day reset, which I've developed, which is essentially no grains, beans, or dairy, of sugar. And that tends for most people to correct the metabolic problems, digestive problems, reduces inflammation in the body, helps with autoimmune diseases. So it's sort of a one diet that actually is a healing diet that you can tell very quickly if you're having benefit. Because we did this just for 10 days, and in 10 days, 62% reduction in all symptoms from all diseases, like migraines or arthritis or whatever it was. So I think, you have to experiment with yourself. But if people are bloated and having digestive issues, autoimmune diseases, I tend to recommend to give a break for grains and beans for just 3 weeks and see what happens. You're not going to die without them, and you don't really need them. I don't think people realize this, but the body only has 2 categories of essential macronutrients: protein and fat. There's essential fats that you have to get from your diet, and there's essential amino acids you have to get from your diet. But there is no requirement for carbohydrate in our diet. We literally can live entirely without carbohydrate. And that's what happens when you eat keto, for example. You switch from burning carbs to burning fat. We're like a hybrid car, right? Electric and gas, right? So we can run on gas, which is the carbs, or we can run on electric, which is the clean we're burning keto.
Let me ask you about intermittent fasting, Mark. So basically, the bottom line,
Yeah. But the other thing, someone said, I'm having terrible bloating all the time. And I think, when you have real digestive issues like that, it usually means there's bacterial overgrowth. So sometimes the bacteria migrate from your lower intestine to the upper intestine. So when the food hits it, it's like ferments like a brewery in there. And literally there are people who've been able to measure blood alcohol levels because of this fermentation that happens from the bacteria that's digesting all this starch that you're eating. So the key to that is really cutting out all the starch and starving those bad bugs in there. And sometimes you do need to take tests and maybe even antibiotics to kill out all those bugs.
Someone's saying they're feeling extremely lethargic after a week of protein and veg/fruit only. Why?
2 reasons. One, they probably need more fat. And 2, when you are used to eating a lot of starch and sugar and you stop it, your insulin levels go down. Insulin causes you to retain salt and water. So all of a sudden you drop all the electrolytes. And when you have low electrolytes, imagine if you just went and played, ran for a jog in the 90-degree heat for an hour. You'd be like, come back and just feel wiped and tired. It's sort of like that. You need the electrolytes. So if you add in electrolytes, magnesium, you can buy electrolyte. I have like this little thing called Light Show. I squirt in my bottle when I'm going for a bike ride or doing some exercise, and it's great. And then that really helps to replenish the cells, hydrates them from the inside. Also, if you're not pooping, you can feel sluggish. If you feel like you're constipated, that has to get dealt with. And you can take more magnesium, vitamin C, fiber, flaxseed, psyllium, whatever works for you.
Okay, that's good to know. Somebody else asked about intermittent fasting. Do you feel that that's good for? I think talk about that a little bit. It is, right?
Well, just this at a high level, there's all these terms thrown around. Intermittent fasting means a lot of things. It could mean fasting 24 hours once a week. It could be 3 days a week. It could be every other month for a week. So that's just intermittent fasting means. Time restricted eating means eating within a certain window of time, like 8 hours or 10 hours. 12 hours should be the minimum. If you eat dinner at 6, that means you can eat at 6 the next morning. Like, you don't need to eat until you go to sleep. That should be normal. And the reason is it helps the body to repair, heal, and renew. And if we don't give our bodies a rest, it creates this chronic state of inflammation and rapid aging. So time-restricted eating, intermittent fasting, fasting mimicking diets, Dr. Walter Longo's studying, and even keto diets all do the same thing. They reverse all the metabolic effects of eating a bad diet, such as belly fat. They help you lose it. They help you build muscle. They increase your mental acuity. They reduce inflammation, increase your antioxidant systems, build stem cells, help build your bone. So it's really beneficial. But you don't necessarily have to be crazy about it. You can, if you want to do a 12-hour, great. Everybody should do that. If you want to do 16 hours a day, great. Try that. See how you feel. If you're thin and if you're like, for me, it wouldn't work because I tried it and I would feel okay, but then I would lose too much weight. I shouldn't say in public, but I would.
So sorry.
Or, and I was like, I need more food because I'm very active. So like I have to burn a lot of calories. But then, the thing is I love to eat a lot. Here's the trick. I love to eat a lot. And I know that if I soup up my mitochondria by doing interval training, which is basically like wind sprints or, where you go really fast, and I build more muscle through strength training, then I get to eat a lot more. So I get to eat like 3,500 calories a day. So I'm not having no half a cup of sweet potato, Katie.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing that and your metabolism is slow, you need to be careful.
Yeah, and we should do another IG live at some point to talk about exercise. And I remember when you told me how much muscle mass people lose as their age.
Oh, terrible.
2% of your muscle mass with every year.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And you could be the same weight at 65 that you were at 25, but be twice as fat. Your body would look the same on the outside, essentially, but on the inside, you've got like marbled ribeye steak everywhere. And that's bad because it's inflamed. And it makes you age rapidly, and it causes diabetes and heart disease and cancer and dementia. That's called sarcopenia, and it's dangerous. So this diet will help to build muscle and lose fat, which is what you want.
And you also probably should do weight-bearing exercises, but that's another discussion for another day. But I think that's something we should talk about, because all that muscle loss, you can't remedy it just from food, Mark, right? You need
no, you can't. Absolutely. Like I honestly, Katie, I had a lot of back issues over the years, and I've done a lot of yoga and running and tennis and biking and skiing. I do everything except I hate the gym and weightlifting. And I decided at 60 it's time, because I keep lecturing people about it. And I started, and I've just been amazed at the changes that happen so quickly. The body can really recover and heal and build muscle even at any age.
Okay, well, that's very good to know. People are asking about hummus. I said, try to stay away from beans, but if you really can't, you can have that in moderation. Somebody else asked about popcorn, not on the Reese. Popcorn on the Reese.
No, these are all the food addicts piping in. Can I have this? Can I have that? And that's a good piece of information, because then it means your brain is wired to start to think about what it's craving and what it wants, and how am I going to get around the rules, and how am I going to do a hack, and how am I going to get my sugar fix, and how am I going to get my carb fix. I think this is a really good piece of information. Your brain shouldn't be doing that to you. That means your brain chemistry has been hijacked by your biochemistry, by your diet, and
I do miss a little piece of chocolate, Mark.
Yeah, that's not going to bother you too much. Chocolate's a food group.
No,
No,
right?
not, yeah, just give yourself a break. See what happens.
Okay, here's some other quick questions. And thank you for doing this, because I think this is really helpful for people, and everyone. Thank you for watching. And for those of you who are doing this with me, also John is doing it because, he was getting a little belly. And
yeah.
which I have too.
It happens.
And he's doing it too, and he's been very, very disciplined. And I've been very disciplined too, which is unusual for me. But I am really determined to do this, Mark. So somebody wanted to know, is this diet good for osteoporosis?
Yes. So the things that cause osteoporosis are caffeine, sugar, alcohol, sodas particularly, obviously lack of exercise, stress, lack of vitamin D, and all those things, you can be addressing through eating this way, except for maybe taking vitamin D and the exercise. So we really, by upregulating all the anti-inflammatory pathways, because osteoporosis is also an inflammatory problem, you help reduce that. And also by taking in a lot of the nutrient-dense foods that build bone, like the minerals that are magnesium and calcium and the minerals that are in the food, in the greens, for example, and other things you're going to be eating, those help to actually build bones. So I think it's the modern diet we have is highly processed and causes osteoporosis, but this kind of approach would really help.
Okay. Somebody else, I don't understand this question, you guys. What are appropriate macros to follow on the Pegan diet?
Yeah.
What?
What macronutrients? Fat, protein, carbs. So everybody's like, well, the truth is, like, unless we come up with an app where you can take your phone and scan your food and it does all the math and analytics, nobody really can guess exactly what they're eating. What I would say, in general, like half of your diet should be fat. And that's avocados, olives, olive oil, nuts and seeds, avocado oil, some coconut oil, that's fine. Ghee, if you want to get rid of dairy, or you can have even grass-fed butter. Those are all fine. I think your diet should be about 20% protein, which, usually about 3 times a day, palm-sized piece of your hand, but it could be animal or vegetable protein. And then, in terms of carbohydrates, I think lower the better if they're starchy carbohydrates. So, obviously potatoes, grains, and and sugar. Those are the things that are the worst. If you're eating other carbohydrates like the vegetable family, you can eat as much of those as you want. Like I said last night, I had like 4 different vegetable dishes, right?
Yeah.
So the mushrooms are great. The Okinawan sweet potatoes, but those were a little starchy, but those are okay. And we had greens, we had salad. What else we had? We had all these different things that were so easy and delicious, but you could have unlimited amounts. So you could eat, 3 pounds of mushrooms. You could eat, 10 pounds of salad if you can, right? And that's fine because your body will just you can't eat that much, and there's no calories in there almost.
Okay, let me ask you about some other things. This person is showing his or her issues by asking, is it okay to have gluten-free or grain-free tortilla chips? No, I that.
That's right. Good answer, Katie. It's just people want the starch. It's just hard to get off of that stuff.
Yeah. But what about after the reset? I mean, I've been getting low carb tortillas
Mm,
because I really enjoy them, like with scrambled eggs in the morning and a lot
yeah,
of vegetables and all that stuff. But
yeah,
it's have your eggs in a wrap.
yeah. There's almond flour ones. There's all kinds of. What's great now? When I started doing this 30 years ago, I mean, you said gluten free. It was like you'd be eating cardboard. Now there's all kinds of products out there that are amazing, like almond flour wraps, which are so good.
Yeah. So just look for ones that don't have a lot of listed in the ingredient. But for this, you guys, for our reset, sorry, no can do. The tortilla, grain-free tortilla chips and tortillas. So stay strong with me, you tortilla lovers. Somebody asked if there are any health sugar substitutes. I used to use Splenda. I'm not using it anymore. And I do miss it a little bit. I do miss that sweetness because I think my brain has been kind of hijacked by sugar. So what about stevia? Are there any things, or do you say just really, at least for the purposes
Yeah,
of this
I
research?
think for this a few weeks to see what I mean. Listen, you're not talking about your 90 years of your life. We're talking about a few weeks that gives you a chance to have an insight into the role food plays in the way you feel, and to see not only about weight loss, but to see how it affects everything, whether it's your mood, your energy, your sleep, your sexual function. I mean, everything is impacted, and we just don't make the connection. So the whole point of this is to hit the reset button. It's like, upgrading your biological software in your computer, and you can do that really quickly. And so that's what I want people to have the experience of. And if you can't do without something for a couple of weeks, it's an important thing to reflect on. Like why? Like what's going on that makes you feel like you can't? And I think often it's because of addiction. The monk fruit sweetener probably is the best in my view. It's a non-caloric, plant-based natural sweetener, and that can be used, and it's fine. But again, people should try to get unhooked from that needing sweet, sweet, sweet.
Yeah.
If you, yeah,
Well, and that's such a good point. And maybe if you really try to not do it for 3 weeks, it's like my husband John stopped drinking milk, coffee. He says when he drinks coffee with milk now, it tastes like ice cream. It's like ugh.
right,
So
right.
you do kind of reset your
Adapt.
to do that and adapt. But where do you get, just in case I want it after this reset, where do you get, what is it called? Monk food sweetener? Monk?
Yeah, monk fruit, monk fruit,
Yeah, where do you get
monk
that?
fruit. You can get it, and I just got a bag at the local health food store. It comes in like powdered granules, and you can use a little bit in your coffee.
Just a
That
little.
comes. There's a maple syrup version for your pancakes.
Oh, but again, do it because I think because the more sweets you eat, the more sweets you want to eat, right?
Right. The more you eat, the more you want to eat. Yeah.
Okay. Because someone just said they needed ideas for sweet cravings. This is a woman or a man after my
It's
heart.
fat, 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 fat. If you're not eating enough fat, you're going to
Please.
be craving sweet. What?
The person said, please don't say raw berries for an idea for sweets.
No, 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 no. You just need fat. Fat is the key to cutting your cravings. Fat for breakfast, fat for lunch, fat for dinner.
Okay, can we just discuss one more time different sources of fat for people?
Yeah. So for breakfast, eggs are fat. use olive oil, avocados. Those are great sources. Nuts and seeds are great sources of fat. Olives are a great source of fat. So I think, fatty fish is a great source of fat, like canned salmon or your favorite, Katie, sardines. So those are all good sources of fat, and I have all the time. I have MCT oil I throw in my smoothie. I have avocados around all the time and avocado oil. I have a jar of ghee in the cupboard. I have a big bottle of olive oil. I have lots of nuts and seeds of all varieties, and I have high quality, animal foods that contain fat, such as fatty fish or even grass-fed meats. So those are where I get my fat from, and it makes food taste better. It makes you feel full. It actually, David, look, he did some amazing studies on animals, which, if you're an animal lover, I get it. Even on humans, where they literally gave them the identical calories, but one was very, very low fat and was very low fat, and the other was very, very high fat. So one was high carb, low fat, the other was very high fat, low carb. And then it was a terrible experiment because they had to open up the animals after. But what they found was that they kept having to increase the calories on the ones that were eating high fat just to keep their weight up. So they didn't want them to lose weight as part of the study. And then when they opened them up, the ones who had the high carb, low fat diet, their bellies were just full of organ fat. They were just filled with organ fat. And whereas the other ones, they were like lean and fit. So because we think in the past that fat made us fat, we're all afraid of fat. We were told fat is evil, eat a low-fat diet and low-fat yogurt and low-fat this, and that's killed us, and it's led to this. And we did a whole movie about this, but it was called Fed Up. It's on Netflix. Everybody should watch it. But yeah, but I think that we really have kind of screwed people up in the head about the fat thing. Fat doesn't make you fat. If you eat it with starch and sugar, it will. If you eat a lot of fat without starch and sugar, it's great, and it keeps you feeling full. It's your metabolism and won't mess you up.
Yeah, that's true. And we got screwed up with the low fat craze, like the snack wells from the 70s. I was like, oh, no, low fat cookies.
Yeah.
But of course, put so much sugar when they took out the.
Terrible.
Well,
one of my favorite snacks is actually, if I'm hungry, I have a jar of macadamia nut butter in the fridge. So I just take a tablespoon. I just take a big spoon of, it's like this great protein fat, full of minerals and vitamins. It's easy, it's tasty, and I love doing that. So that's a great source of fat too, all the nut butters.
Yeah, I love those too, except for John accidentally bought vanilla almond butter. And I'm like, no, dude, we cannot have vanilla almond butter because I think there's sugar in it. It's that Justin's brand. So you just have to get pure almond butter with no added sugar, everybody.
Yeah.
And a couple people are asking, I just want to make sure we're getting to the questions because everybody is, I'm so proud of all of you all who are doing this, and keep up the good work. I think it's awesome that we're kind of doing it as a community. It keeps me motivated because I don't want to let my followers down, and I don't want you all to let me down. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't you think it works better when it's?
Well, it does. I mean, there's a lot of research on this, that our health is not determined by what happens in the doctor's office. That health happens in our community, in our home. It happens where we eat, where we work, where we play, where we pray. I mean, those are the places where health happens. And if we understand that the change is difficult, but that change in community is much easier, it's a game changer. So I would say getting healthy is a team sport, and community is medicine, just like food is medicine. And we did this with the Daniel Plan. I think we talked about this before. We had this faith-based wellness community of the most unhealthy population. I think the average weight for women was 170, and the average weight for men was like 210. That was average, okay?
Right.
And it was 30,000 people. 15,000 people signed up. They did it in small groups. They support each other with just a curriculum that we developed, basically the same kind of a dietary approach. And then within a year, they lost 250,000 pounds and got rid of all these diseases. One came up to me and said, look, I was in the hospital 9 times and on 12 medications. Now I'm on 1 medication and I haven't been in the hospital all year. That's a miracle to me. And it's really through the power of support and accountability. I mean, they had jogging for Jesus, and they had, all that stuff. It was great. And it worked. So community is very powerful, even if just one person.
I just want to give a couple of notes as we say goodbye to my nice friends out there and to keep them going. Okay. So no alcohol, everybody, for 3 weeks. I got special dispensation from Mark to have 1 cocktail a week to celebrate the women I'm interviewing with Jane Walker. But if if you did want to say, okay, you want to have one cocktail, you should not have wine. You should have hard liquor. Am I right?
Yes, here's a couple of tricks on the alcohol. One, beer is worse than wine, is worse than hard liquor, right? An ounce of hard liquor equals 5 ounces of wine equals 10 ounces of beer. So if you go with like tequila or vodka, which are gluten-free, if you get the potato vodka, those are the best choices. However, here's another hack. If you have it after you eat something, it totally changes its metabolic effects. And there's a lot of research on this. So if you have, for example, a glass of wine before dinner, you're going to screw up your metabolism, and it's going to drive inflammation, weight gain, insulin, blood sugar issues. If you have it after you put in some protein, fat, and food in your stomach, not so much. So the order in which you eat foods matters, and what you're, so that, getting alcohol and bread at the beginning of dinner at restaurants is the worst possible thing for us. That should be at the end of the meal. If you still want bread and a drink, then that's when you should do it, or even in the middle.
Somebody asked about cauliflower rice, which I bought the other day. That should be totally fine, right?
Fine, of course, fine. Cauliflower pizza. You can make cauliflower pizza from the recipe in my book.
Okay.
Food, what the heck should I cook?
Thumbs up. And also, someone asked, and I didn't hear it either. I'm not having this problem. By the way, you've got to drink a lot of water, everybody. A lot of water. And someone asked about seltzer. Isn't flat water better than seltzer, Mark?
Yeah, just still water is fine. Filtered water. I think seltzer is not terrible.
Okay, so it's totally fine. You can drink.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And the electrolytes, if people are feeling perhaps a little lethargic, what are the electrolytes?
Well, there's a lot of electrolytes brands out there. A lot of them have sugar or sugar alcohols or weird stuff in them. There's this brand called Light Show, Lyte Show. I don't have any connection with it, but it comes in a liquid bottle. You just squirt it in your thing. It's super easy to use. It doesn't taste bad, and it's just really a game changer for me. So I encourage people to really do so. There's also electrolyte capsules if you don't want to like the taste of it. You can take as well.
Someone just asked and said quinoa is a seed, not a grain.
It's true, yeah. And buckwheat's a flour, but it's still a little starchy. So I would say, just cut those things out for a little bit of time.
Just for
even wild rice is a seed. It's not a grain.
Yeah, so for the 3-week reset, you guys, it's on the quinoa way.
That's right.
You don't need your ice cream. Come on, everybody. Is cassava flour okay?
Yeah, so cassava is a root vegetable. It's a bit starchier than the almond flour wraps, so I would go with the almond flour wraps first while you're doing this. But they're ultimately fine. They're gluten-free, and they're better than probably eating a lot of the flours we eat.
Okay. Any other words of advice? We're on day 9, everybody. I'm going to try to do the 21-day mark.
Yes.
Because I feel like I have to get into the swing of things, and what I think I need 21 days. But any other advice or hacks for this 21-day period? Because I think some of the things you're talking about, we're really trying to stay off alcohol, except for that one drink I'm having. Sue me, everybody. But any other hacks for the 21 days?
Well, I think there's the food stuff we've talked about, but there's other lifestyle things. Think of it as time for you. I mean, take introspective time. Make sure you get plenty of sleep at night. Make sure you're at least taking a walk. Making sure you're not overtaxing your system and letting your body repair and heal. It has huge benefits, and I think that's something that people really can dig into. And just changing those simple lifestyle habits along with the food can really double the results.
And finally, I know that I really love fruit, and I know, Mark, that for the 21 days, and this is totally fine. Don't worry, I'm not like trying to negotiate. But it's blackberries, raspberries, and blueberries.
Yeah.
Strawberries okay?
Yeah, strawberries are probably okay. They're a bit sugarier, and most of the strawberries you want to eat are organic. You don't want to eat non-organic strawberries because they're the worst contaminated in terms of pesticides. But they're fine.
And what about are grapefruits and oranges just too high in sugar? Is that why we're staying away from them?
Yeah, you can use lemons. I would say, yeah, because you can start to get, if people kind of get free license on the more sugary fruits, then it can interfere with the what you're trying to do, which is shut down insulin, which is the key to the whole approach.
Okay, so Amanda, my friend Amanda said you can get it at Whole Foods. I'm assuming she's talking about monk fruit, but I think everybody, my recommendation is just try to wean yourself off sugar, even just for 21 days, and we can live without it. It's,
Yeah.
you know, Mark
And make
says
sure you get fat. If you eat the fat, you won't crave the sugar.
it's a controlled substance. No, not, you know, so everybody kind of on the sugar, and get it out of your diet altogether. When we
Well, you know, in my book, The Pegan Diet, I basically talk about eating sugar as a recreational drug, right?
yes.
So you're having a drink a week, that's fine. It's a recreational event. You're not having a cocktail, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
All right. Well, listen, Mark, you're so sweet to talk to us and kind of keep us on course. And everybody, I think you guys, after 3 weeks, you won't need sugar and coffee. I think that's true. I've been using nut milk in my coffee, and I'm trying to start to drink it black, but I don't know. I just don't really enjoy it black. But you guys, if you have questions, you can put them below on this Instagram when I post it on my grid. And if you have more questions, we'll make sure. And your Romanesca sauce, by the way, was delicious.
Thank you.
I didn't like the sardines, but the Romanesca sauce was really good. Really delicious.
Good.
Anyway.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, anybody should get the Pegan Diet too. It'll help them understand all about food and the principles and all the things we're talking about. It's all in there.
Let me do a shout out to your book, because I'm going to make you do a lot of shout outs for my book when it comes out.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Called the Pegan Diet, and it has recipes in it. My friend Amanda Haas is also doing recipes. It's HAAS. You can follow her on Instagram. She's sweet. She's giving us a grocery list. I think you can do a tofu scramble. You can do all kinds.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And so oliveoillovers.com. So keep up the good work, everybody. And I can't wait until, wake up call.
And his book.
I said the Pegan Diet. I said your book. I said Mark's book.
It was number 2 of all nonfiction books in the country last week.
Congratulations, Mark.
Thank you.
I'm sure that we did our little part here with
You did. It wasn't for you. I don't know who I am.
Oh, that's And if you guys want to sign up for Wake Up Call, please do. It's katiecouric.com. We'll give you daily updates, and you can go to katiecouric.com, the website, where hopefully we're putting a lot of recipes and all that jazz. Okay, Mark. Mwah. Thank you. Goodbye.
See you soon. See y'all soon.
Talk to you soon. Stay strong, people. Bye.